Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So I recently just did a video about fixing a VCR that I got at Goodwill for $10, and that video did surprisingly well. I was honestly really taken back by it's one of the best performing videos that I have on this channel, which is saying something because I know that it's not really a secret that my channel is not exactly the biggest one out there, and I want to say thank you. I think that's amazing. If you watch that previous video and you enjoyed it, that makes me feel good. It really does. It makes me happy to see that there's other people out there who really enjoy the same kind of stuff that I do. I have another video planned, and if you follow me on social media, you would have seen my posts about it. For the next video, we're going to try and do a custom-made VHS tape. So what that means is I'm going to try and take a movie that did not get a VHS release, and we're going to try and put it on a VHS tape. And the movie that we're going to put on VHS, I think, is going to be Star Wars Episode 3. The reason being is because I have all the other Star Wars already on VHS, and so I feel like that would just complete the collection. I think it fits pretty well because Episode 3 came out, I believe, in 2005 or 2006. I think it came out in 2005. And that was right around the time that major movie studios stopped releasing movies on VHS. It was right at the time that VHS was on their way out. And so we literally would have almost all of the original 6 Star Wars on VHS apart from Episode 3. And I already have all of them here, and I'll show them to you in a second. But I really think that it would just be really fitting to have Episode 3 on VHS along with the rest of them. I really feel like I have to say, I think it's just amazing. Like, I was really back and forth because I was actually going to go start making some music again. I haven't really been focusing on music very much here recently in the past, I want to say, year. I've just been doing a lot of other YouTube videos, and life has been going on, and I felt like it was almost time to go and get back into music again. I've even got some unreleased songs that are just been sitting in the tank for months that I just haven't really gotten around to actually like trying to do something with. But with the response I got on fixing the Goodwill VCR, I figured, you know, if there's that many of you that enjoy the same kind of stuff that I do, I figured it would be a perfect time to try and like further this and do some more things with old outdated formats that people might enjoy. I know I'm going to enjoy doing it, and that video with Star Wars Episode 3 being put on VHS is going to take a little bit because I had to order some things from Amazon, and I'll explain to you what they are in the next video when we actually do it, that I didn't have that I needed to be able to pull this off. It's going to take a little bit before they get here, so I figured we would maybe do a video like this in the meantime where I could show you my VHS collection. Today I'm going to show you the extent of my collection, how I store it, how I take care of them, how I keep track of all of them. I think I have somewhere around 220 some VHS tapes in my collection, and actually that's not entirely true. I have more than that. I just haven't cataloged all of them. And I have a little special app that I would highly recommend that I'll show you here in a little bit. That's basically a library cataloging app. It's how I keep track of all of my VHS tapes. I'm a Gen Zer. I grew up in the very early 2000s, and I grew up with one of those dual DVD VCR combos, and so I have been watching VHS tapes since I was a little kid, and some of the tapes in my collection I've had since I was a little kid. So I guess you can say I've been collecting my entire life, but it's only recently really started to come to the forefront of like my personality here within the past, I want to say, year and a half. So I'm actually, I'm also kind of a gamer. I'm not like a mainstream gamer. I don't play a lot of mainstream games. I play a lot of like indie games and stuff, and I really enjoy indie games based on movie franchises. And I would say that my like recent obsession, you could call it, with VHS tapes kind of started when I played the video game Terminator Resistance on my PlayStation. And I loved the absolute like care, and I could feel that the people who created the game did it for for lack of a better term, the love of the game, right? I love, like, the future imagined with old tech, right? Now, I love movies in general. I love physical media, so much so that I'm probably going to be doing a video about that also, just specifically why I think everybody should have at least some amount of physical media in this modern age. But I think every form of media has its place, right? So, like, I don't think that every movie ever should be on VHS. I don't watch VHS for the quality. I watch it for the vibe, right? And I love the idea of, like, universes that are portrayed where we have highly advanced civilization with highly advanced technology, but, like, they're looking at their computer readouts on a CRT screen. Sort of like the world of RoboCop. I played RoboCop Rogue City, and it gave me that vibe where it's like it feels like it's the future but the past at the same time. And I think I want to live in that world. So I love technology. I love modern tech. I love modern computers. I love modern movies. I love Project Hail Mary that just came out in theaters not too long ago. I cannot wait for that to come out on physical media because I'm going to buy it the moment it hits shelves. So, like, a lot of modern stuff is really good. I'm not just stuck in the past where I only want to consume content pre-2005. But that being said, so for the longest time, it's like as technology progressed, it was all about ease of access, smaller, more compact, cleaner, and digital is the ultimate form of that. You've got any piece of content at the tip of your fingers in one of these little rectangles that we keep in our pockets all the time. And so, as we've progressed, we've now gotten to the point where it's just that easy to consume content, right? And so now it's not about ease of access, it's about experience. How do you want to experience your media? And I think that's what VHS is all about now. I think that's why it has its place. I think that's part of why, in niche communities, it's coming back. Because there's just something about physically holding your movie. And it's like, look, here's my thing. There's something about it. There's something about people where it's like, here's my thing. Here's my movie. But, anyway, I digress. I don't want to make this all purely about why I think everybody should have some physical media, because this isn't about that. I'm going to make a video about that in the future. So going back, my VHS collection, now, this is not the entirety of my collection. This is just my favorites, okay? This is my wall of favorite movies, and it changes a lot. I rotate movies in and out a lot, and as I add to it, I have to take one off the shelf. Like, I have these collections here. I have the Star Wars movies, and as I get the next movie in the series, one of the movies down here has to get taken out to make space so I can have them all together in a line. Some of my favorites include RoboCop. I think, and this is just me personally, I think RoboCop is a movie that I think it can only be and should only be consumed on VHS. This movie belongs on tape. I've watched it, I've streamed it, I've watched it on 4K, I've watched it on DVD, I've watched it on tape. I've consumed this movie in I've consumed this I've consumed this movie in many, many different forms, and in my opinion, obviously, which my opinion is the law of the land here on my channel, I think this movie should only be consumed on VHS. I think that's the only way that this movie should be. We also have, of course, when everybody thinks of RoboCop, or at least for me, whenever I think of RoboCop, I also think of Terminator. So I have the Terminator collection here. This came out in the early 90s before the third movie came out. It's a double feature. I also think Terminator 1984 is one of those movies that should only be consumed on VHS. It just feels right. Like, I don't feel like it gives the same vibe on any other format as it does on tape. I also do have, I'm not going to go through each one of these individually, But I also do have Terminator 3 here on VHS as well. I also do have Terminator Salvation, but that is on DVD, and it's in my other cabinet. But we're not going to talk about DVDs right now. We're on VHS. I have every single Star Wars so far. I've got The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, which does not have its sleeve. I actually think that I'm going to buy another copy. That is another thing with all of my tapes, is that I have several duplicates. I have more than one copy of many, many movies. And so I think I am going to get another copy of this off of eBay that has the sleeve, because it really just sticks out like a sore thumb, and it makes me sad that it's the only one in the collection that doesn't have a sleeve. I'm kind of OCD like that. I also have all three OGs. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. All on tape. This is the original release. This was the first release by CBS Fox. I've already tested all these tapes. They all work great. This is the original first home release collection of these movies. So these came out before Lucas went in and changed. Oops, I'm pushing movies back. Anyway, these movies were put on VHS and came out before Lucas went in and made all those changes to them. So this is about as raw and original as I think you're really going to get as far as Star Wars. And so that's the only one that's... So the other thing is, Episode 3 did get a VHS release, but they want like thousands of dollars for the VHS of Revenge of the Sith, because it was extremely limited run, and so it's one of the last big box office movie releases that got a VHS release for home video. And also it's Star Wars, and you might as well just double the price with anything that has to do with Star Wars. If you're a Star Wars fan, you understand. There's also some movies I have in here that I don't have the entire collection of. I have, obviously, The Matrix. You're going to notice a theme. I'm a sci-fi nerd, obviously, so most of my movies are going to be sci-fi movies. I do have other movies. I've got the entire Alien. This is the entire set of Alien that came out on VHS. There are other movies that came out. You've got like Prometheus and Alien Covenant and Alien Romulus, which all got DVD releases. I've got the DVDs of those in my DVD cabinet. But I do have this custom tape that I got from somebody. I can't tell you who it is. But this is Alien Romulus on VHS. This is a custom tape. I did not make this tape, but I am in love with this tape. I love it so much. It is in widescreen though, and I despise widescreen on VHS. I know why they did it. I know what the intention behind it was. They wanted to make it feel more like a movie. But let me tell you something. When you're watching a 16:9 aspect ratio TV, and you're watching VHS, which comes in a 4:3 aspect ratio, it's already putting big black bars on the side of your TV. And then they make the movie widescreen, and it cuts even more off. And so literally it just takes your 16:9 aspect ratio, shrinks it down, is what it looks like. You've got a small rectangle in the middle of a big rectangle. It's very infuriating. Yes, I know you can change the settings of your TV to make it fill up the picture, the entire screen, but then that just kind of ruins the vibe for me. Part of the reason I like VHS is because of the 4:3 aspect ratio, and so like if I'm going to set it to be the 16:9, because if it's widescreen and then you zoom in on it to make it fill the 16:9 aspect ratio and fill in your full entire TV, it kind of ruins it for me. After a little while, I kind of get used to it and forget about it, but it's just full screen VHS, please. If you're a collector and you don't like that, watch for that, because I've bought a lot of tapes by accident, not realizing that they were widescreen. But that's my rant for that. I've got Gattaca. Gattaca's a classic. One of the things is as I became a VHS collector and I really started getting more into it, I've noticed that my collection has become more and more specific because I've got these movies. I love like the holographic cases. I don't know if you can see that. But you see the holographic. I love the holographic cases. I got Total Recall as well. Also, I got like Men in Black here, also in the holographic case. I don't know if you can really see it very well in the camera, but we've got 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's an absolute classic. You gotta, any sci-fi lovers gotta have that in our collection. I also have its sequel, 2010, the year we made contact, both on tape. This is one of those widescreen ones I was telling you about. Didn't realize it was widescreen. A lot of these tapes were brand new factory sealed that I got, and that's another thing that a lot of people don't realize. There's actually a lot of tapes out there that haven't even been opened since 1995. So I got the pleasure of basically having a bunch of brand new unopened tapes. It was actually really cool. A lot of these came sealed. And before anybody gets upset asking like, oh, why are you opening sealed tapes? And you know, a lot of these movies, just because they're factory sealed, doesn't mean that they're worth a whole lot. You know what I mean? Just because it's brand new factory sealed doesn't mean that there's a high demand for them. Okay? And so a lot of these tapes I paid on eBay like $4 or $5 for. Brand new factory sealed. It's not, just because they're sealed doesn't mean that they have a high value. One of the most expensive, so there's two VHS tapes in here that are probably the most expensive ones that I have bought. And I never thought that I would spend that much on a VHS tape. But I have a condition and it's getting worse. The two tapes that I have is, this one's not even in good condition. Or the sleeve isn't, the tape's fine. Tom Cruise's Steven Spielberg starring Tom Cruise, War of the Worlds on tape. I also have this on DVD, but I paid like $35 for this tape. But I wanted it so bad, and this is actually kind of one of the rarer ones that's a bit harder to find. It's not exactly like super rare, but it's like pretty hard to find. And if you're a collector and you want it in your collection, if you see it show up on sites like eBay or what's the other one, like Whatnot, snag it. Snag it up. You want that tape. Because the moment it gets on there, it's going to be gone. When I bought this one, it came in there was two of them, and I bought one of them. They were gone. I was just scrolling on eBay, and all of a sudden it popped up, just listed. I bought it, and within like, I want to say less than 5 minutes of it being bought, they both got bought. Someone else bought the other one. The other one, and I'm sure you saw which one I was reaching for, is this one. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie on VHS. Grew up with this movie. This was not mine. I had this movie on tape growing up, and as kids do, I was rough on it. I think I either ruined it or I threw it out. I don't remember. But I just really, really wanted this one in my collection. I'm not going to tell you how much I spent on this. It's not in pristine condition. You can see it was obviously somebody's kid's one. You can see how they've scribbled on it. It still plays fine. Me and my brother watched it not too long ago. It plays through all the way fine. Not a problem. A good condition one is worth like $80. I just couldn't. I had to have it. I had to have it in my collection. I've got other really good ones too. Classics like I've got Raiders, Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade all on tape. I've got Kingdom of the Crystal Skull on DVD, and I know a lot of people hate that movie. I was a little kid when it came out, and I liked it. It's nostalgic for me. I understand it is objectively one of the worst. It was the worst indie movie until, you know, Dial of Dysentery came out. And all of a sudden everybody's like, perhaps we treated Crystal Skull too harshly. I don't own that one. One of the things, if you're a collector, that I would also encourage is, like, if you're going to collect and you're going to get a collection going like this, is curate your collection to you, because you don't need to just have anything and everything. Don't get stuff if you're not going to enjoy it and watch it. Because otherwise, what's the point? Because you could have it, that movie could go in the hands of somebody else who would enjoy it. You wouldn't spend the money on it, so you'd save some money, and it's just going to take up space. And one thing you're going to find out when you start collecting big, clunky, physical things like this is they take up some space. Anyway, moving on. So we got Independence Day is really good. Love that one. I also love movies that, like, a lot of people don't realize that, like, a lot of classic 80s movies are actually remakes of movies from the 50s. And so, like, you've got, this one's not an 80s movie, but we got the War of the Worlds I just showed you. I've also got 1950 War of the Worlds. I think it's 1953 on VHS. I also got, this one is like a cult classic, the 1986 Invaders from Mars. I believe it's 1986. The 1980s Invaders from Mars was actually a remake of the 1950s Invaders from Mars. So I've got both of these on tape. This one, I saw there was a vendor at a thrift shop that had this on the display on Facebook, and so I went there almost specifically to pick this tape up, thinking that this tape was actually this tape. And that's how I found out that it was actually a remake of the 50s one. I had no idea. Bought it, put it in, and I was like, this ain't the movie I remember. And it's not bad, it's just not the one I wanted. And so after that, I was like, well, now I gotta buy the one that I want. And so that's what happened with that. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, another Spielberg classic. We got Apollo 13, one of the greatest movies ever made. It's literally one of the epitomes of 1990s blockbuster. E.T., another Spielberg classic. This tape is rough. It's in some rough shape. This is one of the oldest tapes that I have. This one is an original, like, where's the date on here? This one is literally, like, 1982. This one is actually, this is an actual 1982 tape. The playback is rough. The tape is getting pretty worn out, but I got it for 99 cents at a thrift store, and I couldn't say no to it. Of course, we got some Predators. Holographic case, again, because I love the holographic cases. Predator 2, AVP. I just bought AVP Requiem on DVD. I don't think every movie, because we're talking about putting a movie that didn't get a VHS release on VHS, right? I don't think every movie needs to be on VHS. I think some movies are meant, to be watched on other formats. I think all movie formats have their place. Pretty sure I already been over this. We're gonna move on. Shit, knocked over my cup. Got Jurassic Parks with I don't know if you can, there it goes. The Jurassic Parks 1 and 2. I just ordered number 3 today as of the filming of this video. So it's going to, it'll arrive here relatively soon. I got Classic, Wizard of Oz. I found this at a thrift store. A lot of my tapes I got on the thrift store. I get a lot of them from eBay because I'm looking for, like, usually very specific titles. But, you find gems at a thrift store. And this one is a 80s release. I've already watched this one. This one is from 1989. 1989 is when this one came out. And I have a 2000s release in clamshell, I believe, downstairs. But this one actually has, like, a whole booklet on the inside about the making of the movie. And I love this. I think I paid like $1.50 for it. I also got some documentaries on here. I love space travel. So I've got a lot of documentaries. Another one of my favorite series is, I had this on DVD as a kid growing up. And I didn't realize they made a VHS box set with it. But it's From the Earth to the Moon. It's an HBO original series. And I watched the crap out of this when I was a kid. And it's one of my favorites. And I found out that they had it on VHS. And I only paid like $4 for this. I can't believe nobody else wanted it, but I'm kind of happy that they didn't, because now it's mine. I have some movies in here that I don't have the entire collection of, so I'm still working on it. Whew, it's getting hot in here under that light. Oh my. Love, 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 love the Riddicks. A lot of people don't like Riddick. I do. Me and my dad watched them together. I'm only missing one. There's actually 3 movies. I'm working on getting the 3rd one on VHS. It's just, you know, one thing at a time. I've also got back here. Oh, yes, it's a classic. Spaceballs, the video. So this one's really good. Spaceballs, classic. Come on. Ain't nobody gonna argue with Spaceballs. I've also got, like, the Mummies. The 2 good Mummy movies. Oh, I'm fucking up the tapes. I've also got the 2 good Mummy movies. This one, actually, I got from my library back in my old hometown when they were getting rid of all their VHS tapes because nobody was renting them anymore, and they just gave them away, so I took it. And then I've also got the Mummy Returns. They're the 2 good ones. We're not going to talk about the other ones. Anyway, so that's most of it. I've also got, like, Ang Lee's Hulk. A lot of people didn't like that movie. A lot of people hate it. I kind of like it. Like, even watching it today, I think it's pretty good, honestly, but whatever. And that's most of it. Like I said, I've also got some movies there. Batman Returns. I'm still working on getting the rest of the old 80s and 90s Batman on VHS, but it's just not at the top of my priority list right now. I believe I also have, like, Gladiator. I know it's a bit of a stray away from my sci-fi vibe that we got going on here, but come on, Gladiator. It's one of the. If you're a film lover and you haven't seen Gladiator, what are you even doing? You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's most of this is like my favorites, right? This is my favorites list. This is the ones I have on display, ones I like to look at all the time. This is, you know, the main events. Not even close to all of it. Now, we're not going to go through the rest of them like I did with this one. I just really wanted to show you my favorites. We're going to go now over here, and I'm going to show you where I keep the rest of them. Alright, here we are. So I've moved everything. This is a dresser, and originally this dresser used to be for my clothes, obviously. But I had so many tapes, I ended up having to completely take out all the clothes, and I just filled it with VHS tapes. Every one of these drawers has got just nothing but VHS tapes in it. Every one of these drawers has just nothing but VHS tapes in it. I've got lots of good classics in here. It's got to be careful because it's actually really heavy. But we've got all kinds of good ones. We'll just run through them quickly. Without a Paddle, classic. Castaway is amazing. Shawshank Redemption, love it. Aaron Brockovich, good movie. Jumanji, My Cousin Vinny, The Nutty Professor. Lord of the Rings, need to get the rest of them. I've only got the one. Mission Impossible, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Saving Private Ryan, Titanic, Lake Placid, I love it. Jaws, another copy of Apollo 13. I told you I have a lot of duplicates. I also really love, like, holiday movies. So I love movies that, like, both mostly Christmas and Halloween. So I got Home Alone and The Santa Claus. The Green Mile's really good. Some Schoolhouse Rock, because it's obviously, you know, you can't, you know, vibe with the 90s without Schoolhouse Rock. Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, all just beautiful movies. So as we go down, the movies are going to become less and less like classics, you know what I mean? We got stuff like Ghost back here. All of these are just like really good classic 90s movies that give you just such a feeling of nostalgia. Got Grease. See, this is another one. I got this at the same thrift store that I got the Wizard of Oz one at. And it actually has the entire play and soundtrack. That's not a DVD, that's a CD, the entire soundtrack of Grease, which actually, I might put that in the CD player here later and see if it even works. Because I got the CD player after I got this. But it's got the entire play of Grease. It's the entire script of the play of Grease for $1.49. I couldn't say no to it. I'm not even that big of a fan of Grease, but I know the cultural impact. Plus, it came with the whole script, and I couldn't say no to it. So that's the one. All right. And yes, I know the thing is broke a little bit here, but just pull that. Now we start getting into older tapes that a lot of them don't have covers. These are all my documentaries. All of these are National Geographics. I love old documentaries, but you got to be careful with them because sometimes old documentaries have outdated information, and that's okay. They're just a product of their time. We got more Christmas, because I love Christmas. Miracle on 34th Street, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, It's a Wonderful Life, all great. And also to organize, I have had to mark every single one of them so I could store them and I knew what they were. So now that we're moving into this part of my collection, I think it might be a good time to show you how I keep track of them all. Okay, so here I keep my entire collection on an app called LibBib. I will go ahead and put it right up here in the screen so you can see the full icon. But the thing I love about LibBib is, number one, it's completely free. And you can have as many collections as you want. So like we can go here to my VHS tapes, and you can see I've got 222 cataloged VHS tapes on here. And here they all are. I think it's very important when you have as many as you do to keep a catalog of them. I mean, you see, like right up here, we just saw Captain America and Castaway. Both of those were up there in the other drawer. I think when you have as many as you do, it's really important to make sure you have them cataloged so you don't just start buying tapes you already got. And part of the reason that I have them all labeled like this is because LibBib has their own nifty little feature that I love so much. You can click on that little plus sign, and then you click on barcode, and then whatever it is you're trying to scan. So I'll click on movie. Let's say I want to add Jim Carrey to my collection. It will scan the barcode. For me, it says one copy already exists, Bruce Almighty VHS. I'm not going to add another copy because obviously this is my only copy. So we'll delete item. No, cancel. There we go. Let me make sure. You can also search your entire collection up here. Make sure we didn't delete it. That's Bryce, not Bruce. Hope it's in focus right now. There it is, right there at the top. So I didn't delete it from the collection, so that's awesome. But LibBib is one of the goats. I absolutely love it. Keeps all of them, and I've got all my collections here. I've got my DVDs, CDs, cassette tapes, books, VHS tapes. Clearly VHS tapes is the one that I collect the most of. But I also got quite a bit of DVDs as well. So obviously if there is no barcode, LibBib is not going to be able to scan it, right? Well, you can go here and manually enter, let's say movie, whatever you want. And so I actually went through here and manually entered every single one of these tapes and labeled them. So I knew exactly what tapes I had and how many of them there were. So big shout out to LibBib. This is not sponsored, although I would love to be sponsored. Call me, because LibBib, you're the GOAT. You're freaking awesome. Love it. LibBib is amazing. So if you have a large collection of really anything, it doesn't even have to be movies. It can be literally, if you have a collection of anything else, LibBib is a great app to catalog your collections. So we've got all kinds of different... Anyway, so now moving on from LibBib, we've got a bunch of other ones. Got some good ones, Face Off. Getting down into here, so my grandma passed away back in... yeah, I know, sorry, I got really depressed there. My grandma passed away back in 2021, I believe it was. And I kept a lot of her VHS tapes. And my grandma and I had very different taste in movies. She really liked Steven Seagal and a lot of westerns. It's not really my thing, but I love tapes and I loved my grandma. So I just could not bring myself to get rid of them, so I ended up keeping a lot of them, and that's why a lot of them are down here. Because I don't really watch them that much. But I've got movies like Lonesome Dove. Most of the westerns will be on the bottom ones. One of the few westerns I actually really like is Blazing Saddles. That's a really good one. We got but she's got a lot of Steven Seagals. Like, a lot of when I was cataloging these things, there was a lot of Steven Seagal movies, and I don't really like Steven Seagal that much. But you remember earlier how I was talking about a lot of these, some of the movies that I have, I actually kept as a child. Well, this is actually one of them, and you can tell because it is rough. But this is one of my very first tapes that I ever had. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like cracked there. Just wait, it gets better. You can see it's like cracked there. I believe this movie's been like stepped on. This movie, you can see here, this movie is been cracked. You can see here that it's been, yeah, this movie is rough. My family probably bought this movie before I was born, and I still have it to this day. But that's not even the worst part. This is by far the roughest tape I have in my collection, because, yeah, that's why. I have not put this in a VCR for a long time because I'm scared of what that might do. I think it'll be fine, but I might do it just to see if it will do it, because, you know, I really, really would love to say that this movie, this entire time since I've been a kid, still plays. Got, Gone Fishing is really good. This one is actually a tape that was recorded on from TV that my grandma made a long time ago. It's actually kind of funny. I actually enjoy it. Speed, Twister, Last of the Dogman. That's another Western of my grandma's. Anyway, we got like Ace Ventura, Nature Calls. It's pretty good. Moving on, let's look at the bottom one real quick. And then this, whoa. And here we go with this. Now we're getting into all of our Westerns here. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm not going to go through each Western, you know, one by one. But you got a lot of, Big Jake, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, Hondo, The Sackets, Snowy River, Rooster Cogburn, a lot of Westerns. These are all the ones that I think my grandma got a lot of these. I saved, like, Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus, the Voyager missions. Totally Sounds Like Me, and like Mr. Bean, and like this is actually a Twilight Zone movie. That's from the library. When the library was getting rid of all their tapes. Some goated episodes on here, by the way. But yeah, like Snowy River, The Wild Pony, Sarah, Plain and Tall, which is like an old Hallmark movie. Is that Plain and Tall? Yeah, Sarah, Plain and Tall. It's like an old... funny story. So I acquired this movie. Didn't know there was a sequel until... I don't know if you guys remember from the last video, but I told you all in the last video that I had purchased a giant box of tapes that came from an old movie rental store, and it actually contained the flippin' sequel to this movie that I never thought I would ever watch, nor would I ever find out that there was a sequel to it. I have a lot of tapes. Like I said, not all the tapes I have are good, and I don't mean as far as like quality. I mean as far as like not every movie I have is good. Mad at the Moon is absolutely this one, Mad at the Moon. If you see this movie, it's a bad movie. If you see this movie, this one, if you see this movie, it's a bad movie. Not a good movie. It's a terrible flippin' movie. Mad at the Moon. And as you can see, right there, it came from the movie store, the box of movie store tapes that I bought. It is not a good movie. It's a bad movie. Don't watch that movie. It's a bad movie. I'm just going to save y'all right now. Okay, so, we did the thing. I showed you those. Now, I also have, like, these sitting here. This is right up here, right next to all my stuff. We got some good ones. These are all, like, the movies that I want to watch. These are all, like... the movies that I want to watch. You got like Whoopi Goldberg, Jumpin' Jack Flash, Mrs. Doubtfire. I've seen these before, so don't think that I haven't, but The Witches of Eastwick, Intersection, and Fire in the Sky. It's pretty good. These are on my list of ones that I'm gonna watch here in the future. Now we're almost done. I'm gonna take you to the music studio where I got more. Let's go. Ready? Pew! Crap. Alright, I'll do it the hard way. Okay, here we are in the music studio now. It's not quite as vibey in here. I don't have all the lights on and everything. But this is my other shelf that I got specifically for tapes. I don't have it filled up yet. I'm going to. Trust me, I'm working on it. One thing at a time. A lot of these movies are just like extras that I wasn't really like that over enthused about. I've got this came with most of the movies in here are going to be from the movie store. They're just extra ones, and a lot of them I'm honestly probably going to resell. Because I'm probably never going to watch all of them. There's some of them in here that I just don't care about. However, some of the ones that I do care about, Roots, really, really good. If you ever get a chance to check out Roots, I'm not going to really spoil anything about it, but you really should check that out. That's actually a really good series. Got the whole thing on VHS. That came from the movie store. One of my favorites that came from the movie store is this Charlotte's Web VHS. This came from a Happy Meal. This is from McDonald's right here. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. From McDonald's. Still sealed. Factory sealed. From the OG cartoon Charlotte's Web that came in a Happy Meal. Or came with a Happy Meal from McDonald's. I cannot believe this. It also says on the front, also in theaters everywhere this holiday season, Addams Family Values, which I really need to get on tape, and Wayne's World 2. So that gives you an idea of when this was around. I just think that's the coolest thing. They gave you a movie with a Happy Meal. Nowadays you get nowadays you just get that stupid crummy toy. I'm never ever going to get rid of that. These are just extra tapes of stuff that I already got. I showed you earlier, I've got Titanic. I got like 3 different boxes of Titanic. And this is just some extra ones. I think some of these I've had since I was a kid. But they're just extra bits. Like I've got Titanic 1 and 2 here, but they're from different sets that weren't complete, and you just put them together, make them complete, plus another copy of Titanic 2. I say 2, part 2, because most of you who are familiar with VHS tapes know that it came in a double box set because the movie was too long to be on one tape. I got another copy of Men in Black here. This was a copy of Men in Black that I've had since I was a kid. It didn't have the sleeve. I found the other one at a flea market and the sleeve looked way better for a display. But this is in fact from my childhood. This is what I originally watched Men in Black on. This was like my introduction to the movie. So it's just really neat that I still have it. This is one of those that I've, been collecting since I was a kid. We got like Pretty Woman. Classic. All Dogs Go to Heaven. We got some interesting tapes down here. I've got Tom Hanks's Big. Classic. We got like most of them I don't really care about, but like Forrest Gump, which is another copy of the one that you saw earlier. Some of the ones that I really like, because this also came from the video store, is some Jerry Springer tapes. I remember watching that on like a really crappy daytime television. I think there's also some episodes here where some memes came from, so I think that's really funny. I don't know why, but this makes me so happy that I got flipping Jerry Springer on VHS. That's funny. And we got Rush Hour. That's a good one. Rush Hour 2, excuse me. And then we got Out for a Kill. I don't think I've ever really watched this movie. I've used it. It's not even rewound. Be kind, rewind, people. It's my fault. I think I've used it as like a test tape to test VCRs and stuff. And then a lot of these are just empty clamshells, like the old clamshells. They're just empty. One of them's got crap in it. They're just old empty clamshells from like the library that I'm gonna repurpose into something else. But it's just got like an old watch in it. I used to store stuff in these, and a money clip. But some empty old clamshells. I'm gonna repurpose them and do something else with them. I don't know what. But also here we have a box of and all of these over here as well. These are all blank tapes. I've got an entire box of like 12 of these, and I bought these to make custom VHS tapes with. A lot of these blank tapes aren't actually blank, they were actually recorded on, and so you find like people's old TV recordings of what they used to watch. I've watched some of them, not all of them. Some of them are labeled. I have a lot of fun going through and seeing what's labeled and what's not, going through the not labeled ones and just seeing what somebody recorded on their TV, what was playing on TV at the time that they recorded it. Honestly, now that we're talking about it, I think it might be a good idea for a video series where I just buy these blank tapes, we put them in, and we watch and see what's on them. Now, like I said, I watched some of the blank ones. I didn't watch the ones that were labeled, but the ones that weren't labeled mostly were just like Fox News crap that somebody recorded from like 2008. So you know they were old people, because like 2008 VHS tapes were well out of mainstream at that point. And so you know it was just somebody who was just too stubborn to move on to TiVo and just using their old tech to record old Fox News broadcasts, whatever. Definitely going to get taped over. But anyway, so these are all blank tapes, and then the last few bits I have in my collection is also here. Oh shit. And then here we go, we've got, this is the box of tapes that I got from the movie rental store that went out of business. And these are not really anything special, they're just like extra stuff. Most of these I'll probably resell because, just to be honest, I don't really care so much about them. They're like stuff like The Secret, the 60s, the movie Event of a Generation. I might watch that, I might not. It's kind of intriguing. And then you've got, once again, Sarah Plain and Tall. So that's actually a much better version of the other one. The Game. And then you just got all of these extras that I just genuinely don't really care about. Last of the Dogmen, again. I've got copies of tapes that I don't even want. So I'm probably going to resell some of these. You got like Gorillas in the Mist, which almost, I mean, is that like a Jane Goodall story? No, Diane Fossey. Okay, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I low-key might actually enjoy this movie. That looks like something that's actually be a good movie. Some of these might, okay, alright, there might be a couple gems in here, but for the most part, like, most of them I don't, just genuinely don't really care about. Like Maverick, I've seen Maverick. My grandparents used to watch Maverick. If my grandparents had a VCR, I would give them probably this to watch, but I don't think they do anymore. They mostly just watch Dish Network. The Father of the Bride, Uncle Tom's Cabin, which actually doesn't seem like too bad. Actually, Uncle Tom's Cabin is still completely sealed. That's interesting. I haven't actually, I mean, I've gone through these before, but they've been sitting for a little while. 9 Months, I read the back of, actually sounds like a genuinely kind of maybe funny comedy. But, anyway, and so that's the rest of the box of tapes that I got from the, oh, we got Patch Adams. That's a classic one. That's really good. And this one came all the way from, like, W.A. Washington, I'm guessing. Judy Hofstadter. Patch Adams, classic. Everybody loved Patch Adams. That one's definitely staying in the collection. I think the reason I kept these in a bag separate is because LibBib... No, see, when we were talking about LibBib doesn't always find the movie that you're trying to scan. So I think I kept all of these in the bag separate because LibBib wouldn't scan them, and I had to put them in manually, and I just lost interest. Because I had already done like 170 tapes before, so I had a bunch of... I mean, I already had all of those tapes, I just didn't have them cataloged because that's when I discovered LibBib, so I decided to catalog my collection. Oh, okay, and I almost forgot. This is the last part of the collection. We were upstairs doing all the stuff with all my tapes in my room. I forgot I have a whole shelf here downstairs that also has a bunch of tapes on it as well. So just really quick, these basically are all my Disney tapes. Because, I mean, if you grew up around the same time that I did, you know, have a fond memory, I assume, as well, of like the classic, actually good Disney movies when, you know, Disney had to be good in order, like, had to make good movies in order to get money, you know, before they turned into the giant, almost religion that they are now. But anyway, some of these I collected on my own. Some of them came from the movie store that I bought. The movie store definitely contributed to the quantity of tapes that I have. But we've got classics like The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Winnie the Pooh. I've got a lot of duplicates of them. Some of these I already had, and then the video store came with extras. And so I got a lot of duplicates of tapes. Like I said, I might sell some off, maybe not. But we got like The Mighty Joe Young, Air Bud, The Kid in King Arthur's Court, The Incredible Journey, some Pokemon, Pokemon 2000, The Jungle Book, Robin Hood, The Lion King, Pokemon, Rugrats, Hercules, Alice in Wonderland, The Black Cauldron, which was somehow both impressive and a disappointment at the same time. If you know, you know. Beauty and the Beast, classic Toy Stories, The Secret Garden, Fantasia, gotta love Fantasia. You know, and then I've also got the Buzz Lightyear movie, not the one with fucking Chris Evans, but like the actual good one. The one that came before the Chris Evans one, you know, that Disney tries to make us forget about. So that way they could, you know, they tried to make us forget about this movie, so that way they could make another movie again and just make more money. But we don't forget, because I've got it right here. Also, holographic case. But yeah, we're not going to forget. I have the evidence. I have the proof. This existed, and it's superior. Clearly, this Buzz Lightyear movie, with the voice of Tim Allen, is vastly superior to the Chris Evans. And then you got Fantasia, classic, love it. Can't have a collection without it. And then here on the bottom row we got Pixar's Bug's Life, Pixar's first animated movie, The Love Bug, Herbie, love it. Pocahontas, another Aladdin tape, and 102 Dalmatians. Alright, and here we are. We're all back in front of the favorites shelf. I believe that's gonna do it for us, honestly. That's pretty much the entirety of it. That's not the entirety of my physical media collection, but it is pretty much the entirety of my VHS collection. I have about 4 VCRs between all the places that I watch TV. Just about there is enough VCRs in the house to go one for each TV that we have in the house. So I've got plenty of VCRs to do. I want to say thank you so much for coming and just taking a look at all my cool things. I mean, this is basically the adult YouTuber version of my show and tell. But thank you so much for the engagement that you guys have given me. I truly am appreciative of it. Thank you so much for taking the time to look at my VHS collection. Please do be on the lookout for my custom VHS tape video. I'm going to be putting in quite a bit of work into it on the beginning end to try and make the VHS tape as good as possible. It's not really so much as the recording the tape thing that's going to be the issue. It's going to be the design and printing of the sleeve. Just not only we're going to be putting it on a tape, I don't want the tape to just look like one of these. I want it to actually have a sleeve and fit in with the rest of it. So we're going to be putting as much work into it as we can in order to really make it fit in and make it feel like a genuine piece. So please do be on the lookout for that. If you enjoyed the time today, if you enjoyed any of my other videos, please do be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all the YouTuber things. It really does help out the channel. It is a free way to help support this channel. It gets me out there, gets me in front of more people, and hopefully will enable us to get a bigger audience so we can do bigger and better and cooler things. If you have your own collection that you want to share with me, please feel free to follow me on my social medias. If you want to help me keep the lights on, please feel free to stop by my Patreon on the way out. The link is in the description below. I'd appreciate that. If the Star Wars Episode 3 VHS tape goes well and it's somewhat well received, I have another idea that's even bigger and dumber than one after that. So I've got an idea for kind of a linear progression and upscale of things. So yeah, please stay tuned for that. I'm really excited for it. It's something I've wanted to do since I've started making this collection grow. Once again, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this video, even though it was just a very simple look at my cool things video. I hope you enjoyed it too. I cannot wait to see you on the next episode. And with that, I will see all of you in the next video. Bye!